Good morning, or let's say good day to everybody that already joined. We're just giving a few more minutes. Then at 12 o'clock, the proceedings will start. Can you just maybe indicate, can you guys on the other side, there's I think 9 people already on. Can you hear me? Just give me a thumbs up on one of the emojis. Perfect. All right, that's working. So let's just give a few seconds for the other guys to join. Hi there, everybody. Good day. Thank you for your time and your effort that you put in to join this webinar. My name is Albie Klein, and I'm based in Paarl in the Western Cape. And just to give you a little bit background, there's a question. Let's just give me a second. Yes, I'm ready, Vuyani. My little bit background about myself. I've been in the industry, the asbestos industry, for more than 20 years, and gained a lot of experience with asbestos. I actually is a occupational hygiene assistant, where I assist, and that is my purpose, is with this webinar, is to assist and to make people aware of the fact that asbestos is dangerous, and there is a possibility of being affected with asbestos. I hope that you benefit from this. For the sake of everybody, there is options for questions later on. So if you have a question, please write it down or put it in the comment section. And then we will, at the end of the webinar, we will address those questions. Again, thank you very, very, very much. I hope there's a little bit more coming, people joining. But I'm going to start. I'm not going to waste any time. The recording will be recorded, and it will be on our YouTube channel. I will send the links afterwards. I will send the link to all the people that attended the webinar. Asbestos SA is a brand that we create. It's a brand that we create to accommodate everybody in South Africa. Now, with the asbestos regulations, there's somebody that's saying, I'm not audible. I'm fine. There's people. Can you just let me know if you can hear me? Yes. So yes, Penny, I'm audible. There's people that can hear me. So maybe the problem is on your side. Super. All right. Asbestos SA is a brand that we're trying to create that accommodates everybody in South Africa. We are planning on having a national database of all the asbestos contractors in South Africa. So yeah, that is our aim, is to centralize everything that when it comes to asbestos, all the contractors, all the information that is required for your clients, or maybe for your family and friends and loved ones, to access the platform, and then have the most up-to-date information about the asbestos. All right, asbestos. Let me just quickly share my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Just let me know if you can see my screen. Alrighty. Where is my screen now? There we go. All right. As I've mentioned, this webinar is purely for information purposes. It's not a training session. So yeah, please be patient with everything. It tends to a little bit slow on my side, but I think it will be coming down through. All right, let's go. What is asbestos? Now, asbestos is a group of natural occurring fibrous minerals that is inside the ground, and it's mined like gold, silver, and all the other minerals. It is a very, very durable and very strong kind of fiber, and it is low heat conducting. It is used in various types of products. There was more than 3,000 products that was manufactured that could consist of asbestos. Now, asbestos, it was widely used in the late 50s to the late 90s. It was used in various products because of its strength and its durability. And in 1998, the Department of Labor actually started the ban on asbestos manufacturing, asbestos mining. So it's not mined or manufactured anymore since 1998, but we do have a lot of products still in use today, and that is why we do have the asbestos abatement regulations. Now, asbestos is a very small, fine fiber. Just to give you an idea, asbestos is measured in microns or a nanometer. And if you take a tape measure and you measure it out, 1 meter out, in that 1 meter, there is 1 million microns or nanometers. So now you can visually see it for yourself that it could have a large, I mean, it's small. It's very, very, very small. But what's more alarmingly is that more than, or the actual average size of an asbestos fiber is about 0.2 microns. So it's even smaller than a micron. So that is why it is very, very dangerous. It cannot be, you cannot see it, you cannot taste it, you cannot smell it, but you can breathe it into your body. And that is where the risk is lying. When you are inhaling fibers, it can become a cancerous or a asbestosis and mesothelioma or even lung cancer for that matter. So if you breathe it in, it can cause some serious harm. So in South Africa, we're focusing basically on 3 types of asbestos. The first one is chrysotyl. It's the white asbestos. That is purely due to the color of the fiber. This is the most commonly used fiber. It's used in various. I mean, on the screen you can see in brake linings, pipe insulations, building materials, especially in the building industry. It was used quite widely. It is a type of a fluffy type of fiber. You can see on the screen on the left-hand side, it's more like a cotton wool type of fiber. That is why it was widely used, because of the fact that it is very, very flexible and it is very strong. Then we do have amosite. It's a brown asbestos, again, the color, but it's more a needle-like type of fiber. It's a long stringing fiber, much more dangerous. It is widely used along with other fibers like chrysotyl. So it's a combination of the two. But it was widely used in a lot of places. And then last but not least, we do have blue asbestos, the crosslight. This is a very, very dangerous fiber. The reason for that is the smallest fiber that was mined, is the blue asbestos. And that is used more in the insulation industry, like your pipe steam boilers, insulation, your ceilings, the bubble ceilings. So yeah, it's very, very dangerous. It's the known common disease linked to it is mesothelioma, which is a very, very aggressive form of cancer that develops in your body, and it can easily spread to other organs. But we'll touch on it a little bit later. Right. What a little bit of history of asbestos. Asbestos was South Africa was the world's 3rd largest producer of asbestos, but the biggest producer of brown and blue asbestos. So it was a very lucrative industry to be in. As you can see, it affects the construction, your manufacturing, your government services, schools, clinics, hospitals, stuff like that. Transportation and storage, your warehousing, all those areas is affected by it. If you go to a large industrial area, you will find that a lot of those factories or those warehouses don't have ceilings in it. That is because of the good insulation properties of the asbestos. A lot of products was manufactured that consist of asbestos. Now, why? Why is it dangerous? As already mentioned, as you can see on the screen, there is a 1 million 1 million micrometer or microns in 1 meter. That makes it very, very dangerous. If you look at the screen, the top picture, that picture on screen, that is a sample that was taken from a roof sheet, and you can see that was magnified 800 times. And there you can see the fibers. Uniquely in this specific sample, there's brown, blue, and white asbestos in one small little 2 rand coin size sample that was taken. It's dangerous. It's microscopic. You inhale it, it becomes it will have an effect on your health. And what's important is to understand why. Is it can stay in your body for more than 50 years before it actually shows symptoms. And you will find in the statistics that we're going to run through a little bit later on, it is very, very alarming to see how everything developed. Right, what is the main causes of asbestos? Asbestos can cause asbestosis. Asbestosis is where your lung is affected. Now, the function of the lung is basically what happens inside your lung. There is it's called alveoli. That is basically the small air pocket inside your lung that take the oxygen that you breathe in. And it takes it into your bloodstream so that the blood can transfer it to all the other body parts that needs the oxygen, like your heart, your brain. But now, if you are affected at that alveoli, what happens is when there is something in the alveoli, the lung inform the brain about there is something wrong. There's something inside that does not belong here. So now the brain sends out a signal and it releases an enzyme. It's like mucus to cover that specific area that is affected. That is to prevent for inflammation or bleeding. It fills those areas up. But now what happens is the alveoli, which is a very, very small air pocket inside your lung, is becoming filled with all the mucus. Now what happens? Now you need to breathe faster to get the right amount of oxygen to your body. Now, if you're not getting enough oxygen in, the other organs will be affected, like your heart. The heart rate will pick up because it needs more energy, more air, more oxygen, and that can cause strokes, heart attacks, even with your brain. I mean, if the brain is not getting enough oxygen, it can affect you dramatically. So the asbestosis is where the lung self is affected. But the second one is mesothelioma. Now, mesothelioma it comes from the word mesothelium. Now, that is the lining around that organ. That organ is protected with a lining. And that lining, if the lining is affected, it is very, very serious and dangerous. That is why it's called mesothelioma. The same thing will happen. The brain will inform and it will release the enzyme to cover the area. But now what happens is the lining is not that flexible anymore. So if you breathe in, it actually expands. So now that process is affected. Even with mesothelioma, if your heart is affected, the lining around your heart, it will affect the pumping of the blood, and it is very aggressive. It can spread due to the size of the fibers. It's very, very small. It can affect as deep as in your testicles for our men. It can have an effect with that as well. So it's very, very, very aggressive and a dangerous form of cancer. And then we have lung cancer. It's just the same. It affects the breathing system. Now, what is the symptoms of asbestosis? Asbestosis, basically, it comes down to you have a total struggling to breathe, a shortness of breath, chest pains or tightness in your chest. Your nails will become rounded, glubbing, a constant cough. If you hear a crackling sound when you inhale or a fluty type of sound when you inhale or exhale, it is a sign that it could be asbestosis. You are getting tired very, very quickly. Or if you are losing weight unattendedly, you don't plan to lose weight, but you're still losing weight, it's a symptom of possible asbestosis. Now, just to give you an idea, I had a friend that was diagnosed with mesothelioma, and December 2023 and March 2024, he passed away. He only weighed 26 kilograms at the time of his death. So yeah, it's aggressive. Now, this is just to show you with the effect on the lungs. You can see on the screen there is a lot of what is the right word that I'm looking for? Honeycomb type of problems. You can see on the screen there's the air pockets. That is the effect of the asbestosis. So it causes that the lung itself is affected by the fiber and the mucus that is released. Mesothelioma, basically the same symptoms, but it is more on the other organs, lung, heart, your abdomen, your testicles. There you can see, just to give you an idea, that is on that screen, it is the thickening of that organ, which is affected. That's basically a lung that is affected with and that is to give you an idea. Can you guys just give me a thumbs up? Are you still with me? Perfect. Thank you very much. All right. So this is just to give you an idea of the asbestosis and mesothelioma. All right. Why is asbestos called the silent killer? As previously mentioned, on the image there, you can see that is a human hair. It's between 50 to 70 microns. And that colored spot there, that is an asbestos fiber. So I hope that I'm illustrating the fact that it is of microscopic of size. So that's why it's a silent killer. You don't even know that you breathe it in. And when you're on pension, the problems start to develop. So that is why we need to be preventative to make sure that everybody is safe, yourself, your family, your loved ones, your co-workers is safe, and everybody is compliant and adhering to the asbestos abatement regulations. The best way to test is to do a chest X-ray. The chest X-ray will obviously indicate exactly what the problem is, and to give you a better understanding, or the doctor, a medical doctor, a better understanding of the symptoms. Now, I'm not going to run through all the statistics due to time, but I'm going to go to the 2022 statistics. In 2022, and this information was received from the Cancer Association of South Africa. In 2022, there was 148 male cases that was reported. That is people that was diagnosed with mesothelioma, and that is mesothelioma only. In South Africa, we don't have any statistics regarding asbestosis. It's just classified as lung cancer. But sorry, alarmingly, there was 63 female cases reported. Now, my question, first thing coming up in my mind is, why is women be affected by asbestos? They don't work with it. There's a lot of men working possibly with it, but women, I don't know of any woman that is working with asbestos. So why do you think that is? That is due to, it's called secondary exposure. Now, what does that mean? Secondary exposure is basically where somebody that was working with asbestos, knowingly or not knowing that it's asbestos, working with that, unprotected, no breathing equipment or coveralls to protect your clothing. Now they go home, and all the clothing is washed together. Kids and the family clothing is washed together. That fiber is then transmitted or transferred into other clothing. As mentioned in the beginning, asbestos is indestructible. You cannot destroy it. So that is why we have the big problem that more than 70% of women and children are affected because of secondary exposure. So that is why we all, that is why we do have the asbestos regulations, is to regulate what is happening and how it's been handled. Now, on the table on below, on the screen, you can actually see the life expectancy, the long span that the asbestos can stay in your body before it actually shows symptoms. From the 40 to 49, there was 4 cases, and then 50 to 59, it was 26 cases. So that is a huge percentage increase in reported cases, and it's only 10, 15 years. That is for me, it's dramatic. We need to, as employers or as professionals, we need to make sure that we contribute to prevent exposure to asbestos, or even regulate it better, creating platforms where programs can be implemented to prevent exposure. So yeah, it is quite alarmingly. All right, let's go to the next one. Life expectancy. Once being diagnosed, your life expectancy is between 12 to 20 months after diagnosis. So it is quite an aggressive form of cancer. So that makes it a little bit scary. I mean, with your heart being affected by mesothelioma, the life expectancy is 3 months. So it is very, very aggressive. I mentioned this all to you not to scare you, it's just to make you aware of everything. Then where do you find asbestos? It's quite everywhere. Left is the residential, and right is the industrial, commercial, more sites. It is basically everywhere. For the residential, you've got roofs, gutters, downpipes, vinyl floor tiles. I even assessed a sample where there was asbestos found in the window putty. So yeah, it could be anywhere. And for industrial, commercial, it is huge amount of areas that asbestos can be found. Right, now I'm going to quickly run through the asbestos process. Now, if you look at the asbestos regulations, Regulation 3 clearly indicate that the employer, and I emphasize the word employer, is responsible for identifying if asbestos is present in the workplace. It's not the landlord's responsibility or your manager's responsibility. It's the company's responsibility. The employer, the person or the company that's paying the salaries, they must identify if asbestos through a competent person, but we'll get to the competent person a little bit later on. So if there's no asbestos, the employer will get a competent person out to inspect. The person found no asbestos inside the building, that competent person will issue a certificate for that there's no asbestos. Now, if your building is built before 2011, that is the cut-off date according to the regulations, where if your building was built before that, you need to go through this process. You need to have an asbestos, either a certificate of non-asbestos, or you need to get that competent person to do a assessment. All right, so that person will come out. You will check if there's asbestos, take samples should it be necessary, and that competent person will then create an inventory for all the asbestos that is present. That competent person will do an assessment. It will determine the outcome, the scope of what is the risks with the asbestos, and that is done according to the HSG 264 standard. And then that competent person will create an asbestos management plan. That management plan is there to manage all the asbestos that is present. Now, if the asbestos is in a good condition, that competent person will mark that asbestos, so there will be stickers and signs on it. It will initiate asbestos training management, or management of training for the guys that's managing. If you've got a large factory or warehouse, you will have staff that is working doing your maintenance. Those guys must be trained on how to handle asbestos, and as well they must be medical fit. that plan will be implemented, and it will then be regular inspections according to the asbestos regulations. You need to assess the asbestos every 24 months. So you cannot access it every 3 or 4 years. You need to do it every 24 months. But for me, that's supposed to be a live document. It's a document that will be updated on a regular basis. Should there be maintenance done, it must be updated. Then, if there is a light repair or encapsulation work to be done, the client will appoint an asbestos contractor, a type 2 or type 3 contractor, and that will then also appoint an asbestos inspection authority. Now, that is a company that oversees the asbestos management process, the handling or the encapsulating of the waterproofing of the asbestos. Again, you will draft in a work plan, and then we'll give the Department of Labour 7-day notification. That 7 days is the day from where all the documentation that was compiled, the work plan, the method statement, all that is signed by all the relevant parties, the client, the contractor, as well as the AIA. Then there's a 7 days notification. And then obviously, then the work will be done and the AIA will inspect. If it's in a bad condition, we need to remove it. Same happens. Appoint a contractor, appoint the AIA, draft the asbestos plan, 7-day notification, and then obviously afterwards the clearing and the reporting will be issued by the AIA. Now in South Africa, we basically have 3 types of asbestos work. For the guys joining late, we will have a question-answers session at the end. So just keep your questions and then we will handle it. In South Africa, all right, so let's go to the competent person. A competent person is a person that has practical experience with asbestos, that know where asbestos could be found, how to contain the asbestos to the best, and how to handle and how to create minimum exposure. Additionally, that person needs to have the necessary training and knowledge of asbestos. Asbestos types, we have 3 types. Type 1 is up to 10 square meters. So you as an employer, if you have a storm running through the area and the roof is damaged or the gutter is broken down, it's lying on the ground. If it's less than 10 meters or 10 square meters, you can self-handle it with the fact that you need to notify the Department of Labour of it. If it's more than 10 squares, you need to appoint a type 2. That is a contractor registered with the Department of Labour that can handle any molded asbestos products, like your roof sheeting, your gutters, downpipes, where it's a molded thing. And type 3 is where it is any type of asbestos, with lagging, steam pipes, boilers. That contract type 3 can handle that. Now we're going through the regulations. Regulation 2, what's the scope? The scope is there for the identification, or the scope is there to protect the employees working inside that environment. The Regulation 3, asbestos must be identified, as mentioned, by a competent person, samples, analyze it through the lab, and then obviously creating an inventory. A full inventory consists of the material, the place, the size, the volume, the quantity, and obviously your scores. Then we go to Regulation 5. It's a risk assessment. That it will determine the outcome of the asbestos, meaning that we follow a strict HSG 264 protocols, where that for every item there will be a 2 scorecards completed, and on the scorecards it's the material scorecard and the priority scorecard. There's questions on the scorecard, and for different answers there's different values. So obviously the competent person will just select that value, and then the combination of the 2, the material and the priority scorecard, the combination of the combined scores will then determine the outcome of what will happen. If it's above 17, it is recommended that the asbestos must be removed. If it's less, you look at regular maintenance, regular inspections. Regulation 6, asbestos management plan, very important document. From an employer's perspective, that is a very, very important document because that will indicate exactly how the asbestos will be managed. Including in that plan is a lot of things. You have your asbestos policy, you have your processes of handling asbestos should there be an incident. Who's going to handle it? Who's responsible for making sure that the inventory and all the other stuff is updated on a regular basis? Training, important. Very, very important that everybody that is handling asbestos or even working in an asbestos environment must be trained on how and what and why asbestos is managed and handled and why it's dangerous. So it's important that at least management and the maintenance staff is being trained, but it's important from a labor perspective that if somebody is entering your premises and they're not made aware of the fact that they are working in an asbestos environment, there could be legal complications at a later stage. Should somebody get affected, they can have financial claims to that employer. So that is important to understand that everybody must be trained. Regulation 8, the duties of a person that exposed. First of all, you need to follow safety protocols. You need to report it to management. You need to make sure that that area is closed off. If you can lock the door and make sure that it's handled according to regulations. So it's important that everybody understands, and that's why there's the management plan. The management plan will indicate exactly how and when and who is going to manage that specific accident or incident that happened. How do we control it? Make sure that you always use wet method. With asbestos, it's better to wet the air. Should an incident happen, a forklift driver driving recklessly around the corner, it can affect and breaking the downpipe or the gutter or the side cladding. Then the first thing is to make sure you've got the correct PPE, mask, suit, and gloves. And then wet the area, the air with a fine mist spray so that the water can capture the fibers and bring them down to the ground where you have more control over that. Notification, we already run through it, but documents must be signed by all the parties and then the notification will take place to the Department of Labor. Every province to have their own chief inspector. And they need to be notified. It is not an approval. I just want to emphasize the fact it's a notification so that the Department of Labor is aware of the asbestos will be handled. What is the duties of an asbestos client? Now, if you do have asbestos in your inventory, sorry for that time, Mike. You need to have an up-to-date asbestos inventory. It's important for all my clients that I have. I actually create a QR code that will be placed in the notice boards in the business or in the company. And then the people can scan with their phones. They can scan and obviously have an up-to-date inventory available. So if you are working in a factory or a warehouse as a subcontractor, you need to get even if you are doing plumbing work or electrical work, you need to make yourself aware of the fact that you could be working in an environment with asbestos. A simple explanation is that you are a plumber and you need to break out or install a new toilet, but the ceiling and the roof and some of the ceilings is asbestos. The breaking of the breaker, the vibrations that the breaker may have an effect on the area that you are working in. Then it could lead to unnecessary exposure. Duties of an asbestos contractor. So if you are a contractor, you first of all need to have an inventory available from the client. You need to get the inventory so that you can make yourself aware of where asbestos is present. Obviously, and then you can create a scope of work from that inventory. Duties of an AIA, as mentioned, the AIA, it stands for Asbestos Inspection Authority. That inspection authority is overseeing the complete removal or replacement process or encapsulation process or even waterproofing process. So if you've got spots that needs to be fixed, the AIA will be involved. The AIA is also registered with the Department of Labour, and they are following the SANHAS protocols, which is a national standard that needs to be followed. If there is dispute, sometimes it happens. The competent person indicated that it is asbestos, but the client say no, it's not. Then there is a process that can be followed to dispute that plan of work. Very important. When asbestos is handled, there will always be a plan of work. Now, the plan of work is a document that indicates exactly how the asbestos is going to be handled, how they're going to remove it, who's going to remove it, names and ID numbers, everything. So that plan is a plan that runs the whole process or a project. It cannot deviate from it. The AIA will automatically stop the work should there be a deviation of the plan. Air monitoring, asbestos is important, or it's important when working with asbestos that you need to have air monitoring completed. So basically what happens, the AIA will install air pumps, which is set to a certain amount of air that will run through the pump. That pump do have a filter on the end, and then all the air runs through the filter, and then all the solid particles like asbestos or other minerals is then catch into the filter. That filter is then sent to a lab for analysis, and we do have an exposure, or we call it the OEL. It's the occupational exposure limit of 0.1 fiber per liter air. So it's important that the air must be monitored. Depending on the size, depending on the conditions, the type of work, the AIA will obviously try to do as much as possible air samples to prevent or to plan. If there is exposure above the exposure limit, it will then have to revise the plan and find ways to handle the asbestos differently. Then medical surveillance. Everybody that's working with asbestos need to be medical fit. Important because if you have underlying TB, or even for the smokers, sorry for this, but if you are smoking and you are working with asbestos, or even in an asbestos environment, you run the risks of increasing your chances by 85%. So yeah, everybody must be medical fit to handle it. Regulated asbestos area. If you are working with asbestos, if somebody is removing, make sure that there is a regulated area where only the guys that's wearing the PPE can enter that specific area. Nobody else is allowed except the guys that is mentioned in the asbestos work plan. You cannot get somebody else, a cleaner or a whoever, to enter that area. So it's important to understand. Or they can enter, but they must have the proper PPE. Now we're getting to the personal protective equipment. Very important. You can only be affected with by the inhaling of the fiber into your body. That's the only way you can be affected. So if you protect your respiratory system, your mouth and your nose, then you do have a very good chance of protecting yourself. So we use FFP2 minimum filters, and then I always use disposable coveralls, but the wet suit. That's why when you see they're working with asbestos, they're looking like space clowns. But that is there to protect themselves. And there's a process of putting the PPE on. The mask, there's a specific process for the mask. So yeah, it's important that you protect your respiratory system. Then labeling and signage. All the asbestos on site must be labeled. There must be a sign on it. You must indicate exactly that is there for a lot of purposes. It's for awareness, it's for compliance. So yeah, it's important. Disposable of asbestos, yes, that is always a question. What do they do with the asbestos once it's been removed? We do have not a lot of hazardous waste dumping sites in South Africa. To my knowledge, I think there is only 4, maybe 5 in South Africa. We have one in Johannesburg, we have one in Cape Town, one in Durban, and one in Port Elizabeth. So if you are living in Appington, that asbestos must travel to that specific dumping site closest to it. You cannot dump your asbestos in your local disposable site because that is hazardous material, so you're not allowed to dump it there. Then we get to the asbestos clearance certificate. Once the asbestos has been removed by the asbestos contractor, it's important that you have a clearance certificate from the contractor. That means that the AIA will issue it. That means that the AIA inspected and checked if all the asbestos is removed. There's no pieces lying around on the ground, on the floor, or on the ceilings, or for that matter. Records, very important. All the records must be kept for a period of 50 years. That's you correct? 50 years. And that is due to the long latency that asbestos can stay in your body before it shows symptoms. Regulation 24, what is allowed? No, I'm sorry, what is not allowed? Very important. You are not allowed to manufacture, to mine, to sell, donate any asbestos at all. So you cannot, if you do have you want to install a new extractor fan, you can remove that asbestos sheet, but you're not allowed to reuse it again. You can't install it again. You need to get a new check or other material to close up that area. You're not allowed to clean. It's important. I cannot emphasize that. I do get a lot of guys that want to clean asbestos. You're not allowed to clean it. You're not allowed to take the high pressure and start washing the roof. That is very, very serious offense. And we're getting to the offense and penalties a little bit later on. That is very, very important to understand. You cannot clean it. Should you have a little bit of asbestos lying around on your site, it's important that you wrap it, close it up, and get a contractor to remove it. But that can stay on your site for 3 months. Then there must be. You're not allowed to paint. No, you're not allowed to clean the asbestos. That I mean, it's a no-go. And you're not allowed to remove, for a type 1 especially, you're not allowed to remove more than 10 squares. And it must be continuous. You cannot take today 10, tomorrow 10, the day after 10. You're only allowed 6 months to fix it. All right. Offense and penalties, very important. Should you be found guilty of any of these regulations, you can be sentenced to 12 months imprisonment or a 500 Rand per day, of which the offense continues. Now, what's important to understand, in 2020, the new asbestos regulations, November 2020, the new asbestos abatement regulations was implemented. And they allowed for a grace period of 18 months. Now, if my calculations is correct, that would be early 2024. Then these regulations is supposed to be in place by the employers. Should it not be, there is a chance that they will be fined 500 Rand per day until 2024. Now, you can do the calculations and maths yourself. It will become dramatically fines that will be issued. And let's be honest, I mean, if we know we are working in an environment where it's dangerous and hazardous, is that we need to make sure that it is addressed as soon as possible. So from a occupational hygiene standard, I know that the Department of Labor held a conference last week. I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And even the president mentioned that in his budget or in his speech, budget speech, is that the Department of Labour is busy at appointing 10,000 new inspectors. So they're going to be out and they're going to make havoc if you're not compliant to the asbestos regulations. So it's important that you just think about the implications of that. Now, at the end of the webinar, the short, brief session that we have. But what's important, what I want to do is I want to ask you is to tell you guys what we do from Asbestos SA. Is first of all, we do the assessments and the identifications, we do inventories, we do management plan, we do training. Training is divided into two sections. One is there's a theoretical section, and the other one is the more practical section. Training, the theoretical one is online. We do have a complete system where you register, like you guys did for this webinar, and we do the training online. You just need to sit in front of your computer. We interact online, and then we request a attendance register that will be completed. The same way you will be doing that after the session is completed. But we do also have site-specific inductions. We can create videos. For us to be able to create a video, we need to do the assessment and the inventory so that we have images and videos available for the induction. We do have emergency kits. So if you're an employer, you can buy the kit from us. That includes the necessary PPE, all the stuff that you need to handle should there be an incident or accident in the workplace. Then we do asbestos project management. Should you plan on doing any asbestos work, it's better to have a compliant and a experienced person involved in planning the asbestos project and the management of it. There is a lot of contractors outside that is doing illegal work. If you use them, you open yourself to great and legal actions taken against you. And then lastly, but most importantly, we are now in the process. It will be launched in April. Hopefully the 1st of April is where we are creating, and it's the first ever in South Africa, a platform where all the asbestos contractors will be listed on the website. That will help with illegal asbestos work. That will help for you as asbestos clients or as project managers or health and safety officers or facility managers. It will help you to get the correct registered contractor to do the work for you. Inside on the website, there will be a facility. If you're not sure if it's asbestos, you can go to the website, take the pictures and upload it into your system or into the website, and it will have an indication on exactly if it's asbestos or not. So it's important that we make everybody aware of asbestos as well. It is our obligation is to go and spread the word. Tell the people asbestos, yes. So a lot of people say, no, it's not, it's nothing, man. You need to mine it before it's becoming dangerous. No, it's not. So let's be vigilant and about asbestos. Like, I mean, that is my passion is to create awareness, and that's why I'm hosting this. It's taking a lot of my time, but I'm doing it because I do have the passion of making people aware of the fact. Then, yeah, guys, that is from me. Thank you very much. There's my contact details on screen. If you want to contact me directly, there's the details. Don't be shy. I'm 24/7 available, and I'm thanking you for joining this webinar. I'm going to go now over to the questions. So if you have any questions, please ask them on the chat. Then I will be available to answer those questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, so please get me your questions. Right, there's a question. 10 square meters, if it's less than 10 square meters, no, it's not necessary to have an AIA, but you do need to notify the department of that incident that happened. Asbestos SA don't have their own lab. We, depending on where the site is, we will then obviously send that to that lab for analysis. Please forward me a copy of your price list. Unfortunately, we don't have a price list because every asbestos project is unique in its own sense. We also, I need to mention this, I forgot about it. We also have an independent sales agency, meaning that there's people outside that will be trained on identifying asbestos. They will then start, let's call it selling or market the fact that asbestos must be identified, and then they earn commission on all the referrals that we have. But that is a session for another day. So yeah, it's important that we get the word out about asbestos. The presentation, it will be on our YouTube channel. Unfortunately, due to the POPI Act and all those other regulations, we're not allowed to download it, but you can view it in our YouTube channel. Turnaround time for the assessment analysis, it all depends on the lab, but normally it's about 2 to 3 days. I don't think it's much longer than that. There is specific treatment that can be done on asbestos roof. Yes, it's called encapsulation. Must be done by type 2 or type 3 contractor. So basically what will happen is they will apply a fungal treatment, but that will kill all the moss, the lichen, and the debris buildup on the roof. And then they will apply a encapsulation material that will be absorbed by the asbestos sheeting. And then you can coat over that to create and to prolong the asbestos lifespan. By doing that, you reduce the risk of exposure, and it's quite a cost-effective way of handling asbestos. Where can we get the information for training? I would recommend on WhatsApp. You can just send me your company details on WhatsApp. And then obviously a number of employees that you want to get trained, and then we will obviously send you a quotation for that. That is the best way to do that. For in larger groups, obviously we will look at discounts if it's larger groups. Is there a local authority building inspector duty to check the asbestos regulations? Yes, definitely. The Department of Labor is on a rampage when it comes to that is where we are gaining our most new clients. Is the Department of Labor is actually visiting in the areas where we are, is visiting the farms, the wineries, the complex, the businesses. They're walking from business to business, and then obviously it becomes then a big problem because they stand the risk of getting closed down by the Department of Labor. A copy of the attendance register. What will happen afterwards when we are finished with this? All the people that attended will receive a link that will drive you through to our attendance register. Regarding that, it is a page that you will fill in all your details, and there's a little bit of questions. I urge you to be honest. questions like, did you gain anything from it? Yes, no. Rate the webinar. If you have questions, you can address that. Other questions, we can address it through that system. So everybody will fill in the attendance register, and from there we will obviously do the necessary certification where we will send you your certificate for attending this. Yes, we do assist people. There's a question, do we help people register? That's one of our services. We do everything on the client's behalf. All that we will need from the client is your company details, your SARS PIN, your letter of good standing with your workmanship compensation, as well as your registration and payments for the Department of Labour for the UIF. Then you need to have a first aid level 2 appointed in the company, as well as your health and safety officer that is qualified. Then we will do all the necessary paperwork. We will do all the appointments. We will do your organogram. We will create your standard operational procedures for you, and then do all the training for people, for employees, and for asbestos medicals. It's important that we run this concurrently with each other, and then we do all the submission to the Department of Labour. And we do a follow-ups, but it doesn't stop there. We do marketing extensively in the area of your operation, where we create Facebook ads, your Instagram. We market our asbestos sa.org.za website, so you can gain a lot of business through that platforms from us. It's free. It does not cost anything. We will advertise it in your area. The referral will come through to us, and then we will address it. We will get you involved in that operational area. CPD points, yes, there is CPD points for SIOS as well as SACP CMP. There is points. It will be just indicate us in your attendance register in the comments. Just put in your organization and your membership number in that. There's a number of RDP. Yes, that is a very good thing. The Department of Social Housing, I know for a fact there is a lot of projects that they are starting to remove the RDP roofing. Who inspect that? Normally it will be your Department of Labour chief inspector. He will obviously, you can complain to your local Labour office, and they will address it. What will happen with, I've got a question, the RAC list is available from the VA. Yes, it is, but it is, I mean, there's no search options, there's nothing. You have to run through all 300 plus to find the correct contractor. So the idea is to list all the contractors on our website, and then you just select in the province and then in the town or the area that you're in. And then you will have all the information that you yeah, you can. There's somebody that actually put their SIOS membership number in the attendance register. Please put it in the attendance register for us. It's all in that document. That is the questions. Anything else, guys? We run through a few things. Nothing. Let me just check again. Again, I thank you for your time and for attending this webinar. I hope that you have benefit from this. And yeah, from my personal view, we all need to make a difference. And unfortunately, prevention is the cure. There's no test or results or any operation or chemo or for asbestos illnesses. There's nothing that we can do, or the medical profession can do. So from my side, guys, I thank you very, very much for this. and you're more than welcome to make contact with me. There's another question. Do each one need to have an asbestos register? Yes. If asbestos is present, you need to have that. That's important. There's another question. I once had an asbestos on my site and AI personnel stayed on the site for 2 hours and then left. Employees finished removing asbestos 5 hours after he was gone. Look, the Asbestos Inspection Authority is not supposed to be on site all the time. Minimum requirements is that they need to take air samples for 480 liters in total, which will represent, depending on the pump, how the pump is governed. So you set the pump on 1 liter per minute, or you can set it to 4 liters per minute. Then the AIA can then set the pump to 4 hours of 4 liters per minute, and then the pump will still give the 480 liters of air that needs to be pumped. So it all depends on the AIA. They don't need to be on site all the time, but what's important, after it's been removed, that AIA must do the inspection to see if all the asbestos is safely removed, and then the contractors can continue by installing the new sheets. No more questions. Again, thank you very, very much. Hopefully you've gained something, and I really urge you, I'm a phone call away. Don't hesitate. I'm a WhatsApp away. We do have, and we try to be as visible as possible. I will inform you once the Asbestos SA site is live, so that you can start using it, or you can start spreading it on our behalf. All right. Thank you very much, and hopefully we chat soon. Have a great day. Goodbye.